thanks to the many kind words received from viewers on the first member votes. It obviously filled a gap, and I'm particularly gratified that people from a wide range of viewpoints found the video's contents of use and the reporting fair. Postal voting has now commenced in this most important WIA board election. The incoming board will face challenges in balancing the books and restoring member confidence after a difficult year or two. A wise choice is essential due to candidates' differing backgrounds, abilities and experiences to carry the WIA forward. Now, due to our country's size, most candidates will not be known to most members. I think this might have affected voter participation. In past elections, less than half of WIA members have submitted a vote, and in many cases, members may not even know one candidate. More information may be needed, and what candidates choose to omit from their statements may be as important as what they choose to include. Corporate governance is a major theme of this election and the informal campaign that preceded it. Candidates with significant stated experience in this area should do well, more so than in previous elections. Some candidates have stressed their previous experience within the WIA. These mostly, but not all, are listed as incumbents on this list, which you saw last time. Others have stressed their involvement in various facets of amateur radio. Another common trait is past employment in technical roles. 2 of the 13 candidates are 40 or under, while 8 are over 60. All candidates are male. My last video reported history and background. It was widely considered to be fair. Trying to maintain the standard in this part, where I discuss the candidates, will be harder. I did think of some sort of matrix or table. The candidate names could be down the side, with an evaluation of attributes across the top. These columns might be scores for things like corporate governance, previous WIA experience, and previous amateur radio experience. You could add them up and get a score for each candidate and use that to influence your vote. You could make some factors, for instance corporate governance experience, count more than others. You could give extra points for incumbent candidates on the devil you know principle. Or, if you want a clean sweep, you could mark incumbents down. It's all up to you. I divided candidates into incumbents and challengers. I've defined incumbents as those as being either on the board or very close to it. The rest I labelled as challengers. The candidate statement that came with the voting paper allows a more discerning classification. Amongst the incumbents, some have lengthy WIA experience or technical backgrounds, but they vary in relation to general management experience or substantial formal education in company matters, and any past divisional records, such as whether they united or divided members. Amongst the challengers, 1 or 2 could be labelled oppositional or protest candidates. Their qualifications may be limited or undeclared. However, they were driven to stand by deep concerns as to the way things were going. Their plans for the Institute are unknown, and it's not clear whether they know what's entailed. Others in the challenger group may tend to be more open about their employment, experiences, qualifications, and how they can be useful to the WIA. They might also use some of their word allocation to present some of their ideas for the Institute's future. I was going to do a table that I described before to try and assign scores against each candidate for some of these attributes. However, many judgments go into it. For instance, you might give extensive WIA experience a big tick. But quantity, like decades, may not indicate quality, which may be hard to judge without being there or talking to knowledgeable people who were there at the time. Too unreliable, and I can't guarantee fairness, so I dropped that idea. So instead, what you'll get from me is a quick synopsis on each candidate. They'll be given in the order they appear in the WIA's material. Peter Klee, VK8ZZ, is a challenger seeking election. There are 4 paragraphs on life history and amateur experiences. 1 paragraph is on local government involvement, including Shire President, which may indicate leadership skills. Little information on policies or a future WIA vision is given. Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, is an incumbent seeking re-election. The statement is a short-form resume. Listed are achievements in the WIA and various jobs held, though curiously there's more about his work in the 1960s than current. People tend to be either very for or very against, with many VK2s remembering his part in 1990s divisional politics. David Ford, VK5WP, is a challenger seeking election. His statement is largely about his professional experience on corporate boards and in organisational change. An opportunity for amateur radio to appeal to a new generation is stated. The candidate's amateur radio experiences are not given. Gregory Kelly, VK2GPK, is a challenger seeking election. His statement concentrates on his professional and management experience, including not-for-profit organisations. Priorities for a viable WIA are given, with a preference for evolutionary rather than revolutionary change. Phil Raitt, VK2ASD, is an incumbent seeking re-election. His statement mentions the last year's challenges and the need for stable leadership. He has a small business background and has been WIA President for 4 years. Read the presidential comments on the WIA website under President's blog or Amateur Radio magazine for background. Gary Page, VK3ZGP, is a challenger seeking election. His statement indicates discontent with the current leadership. It then goes on to indicate things the WIA Reform Group could have done differently. He does not list professional qualifications, experience, or a vision for the WIA. James Linton, VK3PC, is the incumbent secretary seeking election as director. About 17 years ago, I applied for but was refused membership of the WIA VK3 division, whose president was this candidate. Having declared these previous dealings, it would be unfair to say any more. Marcus Berglund, VK5WTF, is a challenger seeking election. The youngest candidate at 39, he is a teacher by profession. He advocates an independent review of finances, the WIA living within its means, and more open governance with greater member involvement. Justin Giles Clark, VK7TW, is a challenger seeking election. A long-term VK7 volunteer, this candidate has worked in various public sector IT and management positions. He claims skills would be useful to the WIA in areas such as government relations, financial management and legislative interpretation. Brian Clark, VK2GCE, is a challenger seeking election. His statement cites involvement in the early setup of the unified WIA, including drafting much of its first constitution. He has an engineering and teaching background and has led 2 VK2 radio clubs. Self-employed, he claims Company Act and management experience. John Fisher, VK3DQ, is a challenger seeking election. He is a former trade union secretary and amateur radio examiner. His statement advocates the need for a new board that serves members and says it's time to have amateurs running the Institute for Amateurs. The statement is vague on his qualifications or amateur interests. Ewan McLeod, VK4ERM, is an incumbent seeking re-election. He is a long-standing board member with significant VK4 divisional experience before that. The statement emphasises things like better communication, correspondence management, using members' talents, and more effective committees as a way forward for the WIA. Fred Swainston, VK3YE, is an incumbent seeking re-election. He is possibly one of the more controversial candidates. He's had a varied and multifaceted relationship with the board, including performing various contracted services and providing goods. He claims prior management experience and strong business acumen. Amateur radio education has been a long-standing interest. This has been a quick run-through for each of the candidates standing. As you heard, they use their allocated 300 words quite differently. Some have mentioned their personal history and others their professional expertise. Another approach is to comment on what's wrong or what could be done better. Think about what the Institute needs, what the candidates offer, and make a wise choice. In the meantime, since they were popular last time, we'll again hear from Punch and Judy. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Judy, there's a hole in my bucket, what do I do?
Fill it, dear Punch, fill it, dear Punch, I say to you.
But it will still leak, dear Judy, it will still leak, I know that is so.
It matters not, dear Punch, the people consent, 'cause they do not know.
But what if they find out, dear Judy, we could be held liable if all this gets out.
Leave it to me, dear Punch, trust me, dear Punch, 'cause I'll sort it out.
There's already someone, dear Judy, we currently pay him and can't afford you.
Well, sack him, dear Punch, make it look sweet by doing a review.
But just who will do it, dear Judy? Any ideas? Please give me a hoy.
You're looking at me right now, dear Punch. No one more qualified could you doth employ.
The people won't like it, dear Judy. They will object profusely and say it's not fair.
It's only a short time, dear Punch. Administrative matters, I don't think they care.
But what about the bursar, dear Judy? He has the figures and knows what we pay.
Never mind, don't you worry, dear Punch. He was annoyingly thorough, but left in dismay.
But there's a new one, dear Judy, someone quite educated who know what flows where.
He's gone as well, dear Punch. Tail between legs, deep in despair.
So who will keep track, dear Judy? Who will record cash in and cash out?
CPA, dear Punch. On contract rates, a bargain, no doubt.
Sounds pretty good, dear Judy, but how do we raise the funds for their fee?
Sell some more sausages, dear Punch. How about 5,000? I can get them done cheap.
Just one more thing, dear Judy. All those rumours now, how do we dispel?
Never you mind, dear Punch. You have an old mate who can do the hard sell.
Those two other men, dear Judy, not on our side. Unhappy, I've heard.
Calm down, dear Punch. They resigned too, giving us the bird.
And what of that meeting, dear Judy? Masses revolting, it doesn't look nice.
All that's covered, dear Punch. Administrator stopped it on legal advice.
It doesn't hold water, dear Judy. There is a grave risk we could have a spill.
Get a bucket, dear Punch. A bucket, dear sir, I think you can fill.
But there's a hole in my bucket, dear Judy. There's a hole in my bucket.
What do we do?
Hello. I wonder if you wouldn't mind right now having a look for your March 2017 Amateur Radio magazine. Oh, and don't worry, hand me your phone and I'll keep an eye on Facebook. And let you know if anything happens on the Amateur Radio politics page you follow. You're back. Any luck? Oh, that's good. So comforting, because if you did not have your March 2017 issue of Amateur Radio magazine, you would not have received your ballot paper for the 2017 WIA board elections. And if you did not cast a vote in the 2017 WIA board election, you have no say in who gets elected. Oh, how unfortunate. Now that you've voted, you can get back to your radio with a clear conscience. Or can you?